Close your eyes for a moment and picture the streets of America in the 1970s. Bell-bottoms swaying with every step, platform shoes echoing on the pavement, and tie-dye shirts bursting with color and individuality. Can you feel the music in the air, the laughter of friends, the energy of a generation embracing freedom and expression? Today, we're stepping back into that unforgettable world to relive the fashion, the spirit, and the memories that still make our hearts smile decades later. Fashion in the 70s wasn't just about clothing. It was about attitude, identity, and self-expression. Bell-bottoms weren't just pants. They were a statement of rebellion and individuality. Platform shoes weren't just a way to stand taller. They were a way to step confidently into a world ready for change. Tie-dye shirts weren't just patterns. They were canvases of creativity and color, a way to show the world who you were inside. But these styles weren't isolated from life. They danced hand in hand with music, with social gatherings, and with the culture of the time. Funk, disco, soul, and rock weren't just songs. They were the soundtrack to a generation moving, laughing and connecting in ways that were unforgettable. The streets, clubs, and parks of America were alive with energy, and every outfit told a story of youth, freedom, and shared experience. Throughout this video, we'll explore the most iconic elements of 70s fashion: bell-bottoms, platform shoes, tie-dye jumpsuits, miniskirts, and more. We'll uncover how these pieces weren't just clothing, but symbols of a generation that wanted to be seen, heard, and remembered. We'll reflect on the social culture, music, and daily life that intertwined with these styles, creating a world that was colorful, bold, and full of heart. So whether you remember wearing these styles yourself, admired them from afar, or are simply curious about the energy of that decade, let yourself be transported. Take a moment to feel the rhythm, the laughter, and the unforgettable spirit of 1970s America. Because today, we're stepping back in time to relive it all, and the memories are waiting to embrace you. Let's dive deeper into one of the most iconic symbols of 1970s fashion: bell-bottoms. These flared pants weren't just a style choice. They were a statement of identity, freedom, and rebellion. Imagine strolling down the streets of New York, Los Angeles, or Chicago, watching young men and women strut in pants that gradually widened from the knees to the ankles, creating a dramatic flow with every step. Each movement seemed to dance with the rhythm of the decade itself. Bell-bottoms first emerged in the late 1960s, inspired by naval uniforms, but they truly became a cultural phenomenon in the 70s. They were a departure from the straight leg, trousers, and conservative silhouettes of previous generations. Wearing bell-bottoms meant embracing individuality and daring to stand out. It was a subtle act of defiance, a visual reminder that the wearer was part of a generation that wanted change, freedom, and creativity. But bell-bottoms weren't just about making a statement. They were functional in the world they belonged to. The wide legs allowed for movement, which made them perfect for dancing. Funk, soul, and disco enthusiasts quickly adopted them, as the flared design moved beautifully with spins, twirls, and groove steps. Whether at a disco club under the sparkling lights or a casual backyard gathering with friends, bell-bottoms complemented every motion and added a flair to life's celebrations. The fabrics and patterns were just as expressive as the cut. Denim bell-bottoms offered a casual, everyday look, while colorful prints, stripes, and bold patterns made a statement of personality. Tie-dye versions connected with the counterculture, free-spirited and artistic while solid. Tailored versions could be seen in more upscale or performance settings. In every variation, bell-bottoms communicated creativity, energy, and a desire to be seen. Bell-bottoms also became a bridge between fashion and culture. They appeared everywhere, on the streets, at school, in movies, and on television. They were worn by icons like John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever, creating images that still define the era. But beyond Hollywood, everyday people adopted them, connecting communities through shared style and mutual admiration. Seeing someone in bell-bottoms often meant sharing a mindset. Open-minded, playful, bold, and expressive. And let's not forget the social aspect. Bell-bottoms were more than pants. They were conversation starters, statements of belonging, and part of a lifestyle. Dance floors, concerts, festivals, and casual meetups became stages to showcase one's personality. Friends would admire each other's patterns, fabrics, and how the pants moved. It wasn't just about fashion, it was about energy, interaction, and connection. Every step told a story. So as we think back on bell-bottoms today, they're more than just a nostalgic memory of flared pants. They're a reminder of a time when fashion, music, social life, and self-expression were inseparable. For those who wore them, they recall laughter, freedom, and youthful confidence. For those who admired them, they inspired a sense of longing for a time when boldness and creativity were celebrated in every step, every twirl, and every stride. If bell-bottoms were the statement of movement and individuality, then platform shoes were the statement of confidence and style. Picture the streets and dance floors of the 1970s, where every step clicked with presence, and every stride seemed to elevate not only your height, but your spirit. Platform shoes became a symbol of boldness, fun, and a touch of rebellion that perfectly complemented the flared pants and vibrant tie-dye shirts of the decade. Platforms emerged in the late 1960s and truly soared in popularity during the 70s disco era. Both men and women embraced them, breaking previous norms that limited height, gender expression, and flamboyance. They were unapologetically dramatic, giving the wearer a feeling of standing taller, literally and figuratively. The higher the platform, the bolder the statement. From glitter-covered heels to thick-soled leather shoes, platforms were a form of personal expression, a way to shine and be noticed. Music and dance were inseparable from platform shoes. Disco, funk, and soul music called for movement, and platforms allowed dancers to accentuate spins, slides, and grooves with flair. Dance floors became catwalks, where style and rhythm intertwined. Watching someone move across the floor in platforms was mesmerizing. The shoes became part of the performance, turning every step into art. Even casual strolls on city streets had a playful elegance, a sense of being part of something larger, a movement, a trend, a community. Platform shoes were also cultural icons, appearing in films, on TV, and in magazines. They were celebrated by pop stars, actors, and trendsetters. For the everyday person, wearing platforms meant you were in touch with the spirit of the times, confident, daring, and ready to celebrate life in color and style. The shoes weren't just functional, they were storytelling. Glitter, patent leather, bright colors, and thick soles weren't merely decorative. They carried personality, attitude, and a connection to the broader culture of 70s fashion. The social aspect of platforms was equally important. Parties, concerts, and street scenes became places to showcase individuality, and platforms gave people a visual voice. They sparked compliments, conversations, and a shared appreciation for creativity and daring. The shoes were more than footwear. They were part of identity, culture, and self-expression, uniting fashion, music, and social life into a single, unforgettable statement. Looking back, platform shoes remind us of a time when confidence, energy, and style walked hand in hand. They were more than just shoes. They were a symbol of an era that encouraged boldness, creativity, and the joy of self-expression. For those who wore them, they evoke memories of laughter, music, and movement. For those who admired them, they inspire nostalgia and a longing for the playful daring of the 1970s. Now let's talk about one of the most colorful and expressive elements of 1970s fashion, tie-dye. If bell-bottoms represented movement and platform shoes signaled bold confidence, tie-dye was the ultimate statement of freedom, creativity, and individuality. From swirling rainbows to abstract bursts of color, each shirt, dress, or jacket was completely unique, reflecting the personality and spirit of the wearer. Tie-dye became popular in the 60s counterculture, but it truly flourished in the 1970s, becoming a symbol of peace, self-expression, and rebellion against conformity. Wearing tie-dye wasn't just about fashion. It was about saying, I am free, I am creative, I am part of something larger. It was art you could wear, a canvas for the soul, and a connection to the broader social and cultural movements of the decade. Music and tie-dye were inseparable. Think of outdoor festivals, backyard jam sessions, and concerts where musicians and fans alike wore these vibrant creations. The colors seemed to dance with the music, moving with every step, sway and spin. Whether you were at a folk gathering, a disco club, or simply walking down the street, tie-dye expressed joy, optimism, and individuality. The DIY nature of tie-dye also made it special. Each piece was handmade, each pattern unpredictable. No two shirts were exactly alike, reflecting the wearer's personality and creativity. Tie-dye allowed anyone to participate in fashion as an art form, breaking away from mass-produced clothing and celebrating uniqueness and personal expression. Tie-dye also connected communities. Wearing these vibrant colors signaled openness, friendliness, and a shared love for creativity. People recognized kindred spirits through their patterns, sparking conversations, friendships, and even movements. It wasn't just clothing. It was a way to communicate, to belong, and to celebrate the freedom and individuality that defined the decade. Looking back, tie-dye remains one of the most enduring symbols of the 1970s. It reminds us of a time when fashion was fun, expressive, and deeply connected to music, culture, and personal freedom. For those who wore it, it evokes memories of laughter, creativity, and vibrant energy. For those who admired it, it inspires nostalgia for a colorful, bold, and unforgettable era. Fashion in the 1970s wasn't just about clothing, it was a reflection of society, culture, and a generation redefining itself. The flared pants, platform shoes, tie-dye shirts, and bold prints weren't simply trends. They were statements, expressions, and sometimes even acts of rebellion. They communicated values, attitudes, and a desire to connect with others in a world that was rapidly changing. Young people used fashion as a form of identity. Wearing bell-bottoms and platform shoes signaled alignment with the vibrant, creative energy of the decade. Tie-dye shirts reflected openness, individuality, and a countercultural mindset that challenged norms. Every outfit told a story, not just about style, but about beliefs, passions, and aspirations. It was a visual language, understood and celebrated across communities. Fashion influenced social spaces and vice versa. Disco clubs, concert halls, outdoor festivals, and neighborhood hangouts became arenas to showcase personal style and creativity. People weren't just attending events, they were performing, interacting, and connecting through what they wore. Clothes and accessories were conversation starters, icebreakers, and even statements of solidarity. A colorful outfit could spark a compliment, a friendship, or a shared experience that would last a lifetime. The media amplified this connection. Magazines, TV shows, and films celebrated the bold, expressive styles of the era. Pop stars, actors, and fashion icons were admired not only for their talent but also for their distinctive looks. Young people saw themselves reflected in these images, aspiring to adopt styles that felt empowering and socially meaningful. Fashion became intertwined with music, media, and cultural movements, creating a cohesive identity for a generation. But it wasn't just youth culture. Families, workplaces, and local communities adapted these trends in their own ways. Casual styles entered schools, offices saw more colorful attire, and weekend gatherings became opportunities to embrace fun, individuality, and creativity. In short, 1970s fashion was a cultural force, a way to participate, communicate, and belong. Looking back, the social and cultural impact of 1970s fashion reminds us that clothing is more than material. It is emotion, identity, and connection. The flared pants, platforms, and tie-dye weren't just worn, they were experienced, celebrated, and remembered. They represent a time when self-expression, community, and creativity were inseparable, leaving a lasting impression that still inspires nostalgia today. No discussion of 1970s fashion would be complete without talking about the accessories and hairstyles that defined the decade. While bell-bottoms, platform shoes, and tie-dye captured attention on their own, it was the finishing touches, hats, sunglasses, belts, jewelry, and hairstyles that completed the look and expressed individuality, creativity, and personality. Large round sunglasses, headbands, oversized belts, and layered necklaces were more than fashion. They were statements. Each accessory told a story, signaling social affiliations, personal taste, or simply a desire to stand out. Hats ranged from floppy sun hats to fedoras, while scarves and bandanas added flair and color. These details complemented the iconic clothing of the era, enhancing the expression of freedom, boldness, and artistic spirit. Hairstyles were equally important. Long, flowing hair for both men and women became a symbol of freedom and nonconformity, while feathered haircuts, afros, and curly styles added texture, volume, and drama. Hair wasn't just about appearance, it was an extension of personality and identity. The way someone styled their hair could indicate their social group, musical taste, or even political mindset. A single glance at a person's hair and accessories often told a story that words could not fully express. Music, dance, and social interactions were deeply intertwined with these styles. Disco nights, concerts, and casual gatherings became opportunities to showcase one's entire look. From head to toe, accessories and hairstyles enhanced the movement of dance, caught the lights, and made every motion part of the visual spectacle. Friends complimented each other, shared styling tips, and celebrated creativity in a way that strengthened community bonds. Media and pop culture amplified the influence of these elements. Magazine spreads, TV shows, and movies highlighted the most daring and expressive accessories and hairstyles, making them aspirational and widely admired. Icons like Farrah Fawcett with her feathered hair, or musicians with elaborate headpieces and bold jewelry, set the tone for millions of people embracing self-expression through their appearance. Looking back 1970s, accessories and hairstyles remind us that fashion was more than just clothing. Every detail, from a chunky belt to a spiral perm, was a tool for self-expression, a cultural signal, and a connection to a vibrant, creative community. They reflected the energy, optimism, and daring spirit of a decade that continues to inspire nostalgia and admiration today. Fashion in the 1970s wasn't confined to runways or nightclubs. It was woven into everyday life, from schools to neighborhood streets, from coffee shops to backyard parties. People expressed themselves through their clothing, accessories, and hairstyles. Every outfit was an opportunity to showcase personality, values, and creativity. Imagine a typical day in 1970s America. Teens heading to school in bell-bottoms and tie-dye shirts, chatting with friends about music, concerts, or the latest style trends. Weekend gatherings often turned into informal fashion shows, with friends comparing platform shoes, necklaces, and headbands, exchanging tips, and admiring each other's unique combinations. Even daily chores became a stage for self-expression. Going to the local diner, visiting the record store, or walking down the street meant presenting yourself, showing energy, confidence, and individuality. Clothes and accessories weren't just practical, they were symbols of participation in a larger, vibrant culture. People communicated through their fashion, and style became a language of connection. Social scenes reflected the values and attitudes of the decade. Disco nights, music festivals, and community gatherings were opportunities to celebrate creativity and joy. People didn't just observe, they interacted, danced, and shared experiences through their appearance. Bell-bottoms swayed, platform shoes clicked, tie-dye glowed, and hairstyles framed every movement, creating a dynamic visual story that was uniquely theirs. Beyond personal expression, fashion reinforced social bonds. Friends recognized each other's tastes, admired bold choices, and celebrated creativity. Clothing and style were shared experiences, fostering friendship, identity, and belonging. A compliment on a scarf or a pair of shoes could spark conversation, laughter, or a lifelong memory. Fashion in everyday life wasn't just about looking good. It was about connecting, engaging, and living fully. Looking back, the fashion of daily life in the 1970s reminds us that style was inseparable from culture, social interaction, and personal expression. It shaped how people experienced their world, created community, and celebrated individuality. These moments, captured in memory and imagination, continue to evoke nostalgia for a vibrant, expressive, and unforgettable decade. As we look back on the fashion of the 1970s, it's impossible not to feel the energy, creativity, and boldness that defined the decade. Bell-bottoms, platform shoes, tie-dye shirts, iconic accessories, And unforgettable hairstyles weren't just clothing. They were a reflection of a generation's spirit, a celebration of individuality, and a connection to community. Fashion in the 70s was more than style. It was a language of self-expression, a medium for social interaction, and a statement of cultural identity. Every outfit, every detail, every bold choice told a story. Stories of freedom, creativity, joy, and the desire to stand out and be seen. For those who lived through it, these memories evoke laughter, music, dance, and vibrant moments shared with friends, family, and community. For those who admire it from afar, the 1970s offer a glimpse into a time when fashion, culture, and personal expression were inseparable, leaving a legacy that continues to inspire designers, musicians, and fashion enthusiasts today. So when we remember bell-bottoms swaying, platform shoes clicking, tie-dye glowing, and hairstyles framing every movement, we are not just recalling clothes, we are recalling a spirit, a feeling, and a time that encouraged everyone to embrace who they were. The 1970s remind us that fashion is powerful, not just in how we look, but in how it makes us feel, connect, and celebrate life. May this glimpse into the iconic styles of the 1970s inspire you to remember the joy, creativity, and boldness of an unforgettable decade, because fashion is more than what we wear. It's a story we live, a memory we carry, and a legacy that continues to dance through time.